So what do we do when we figure out we have little faith, small faith? What should we expect to happen? Well, I think the book of Matthew does a very good job of opening up to us what Jesus's intentions were for his disciples. There's 4 different places in the book of Matthew where little faith is mentioned, and all 4 of those places has something to do with his disciples. And so what can we expect to happen when we realize, wow, my faith is not up to par. I have faith, but it's little faith. What can we expect? Well, one thing we can expect is we're probably going to be drawn into a storm at some point. Either maybe our doing or not. Jesus told the disciples we're going to the other side. And every time he put them in a boat, there was an intention to go beyond where they were comfortable, to go beyond their home place, to go beyond their place of comfort. And every time they get in a boat, in Matthew 8 and Matthew 14, Jesus says we're going to the other side. And there on the other side would await them a group of people they weren't used to, a group of outsiders that most any other Jew would not touch. But yet Jesus is trying to get them beyond themselves. So what happens when we realize we have little faith? What's the indicator? Well, little faith is always about what's going on here. It's always got something to do with the self-curl mentality. And so how does Jesus fix our little faith? Well, he sends us to the other side. He encourages us to move beyond our comfort zone. And that's what he does with the disciples. And one of the greatest stories is in Matthew 14, where Jesus encourages Peter to step out of the water, step out of the boat into the water where he is. And in that story in Matthew 14, that's a little more unique, the only place it's mentioned throughout the 4 accounts of the gospel. And there, I think, is an elevation of the lead man in Jesus's group. And of course, he is learning to be like his rabbi, who in the first story in Matthew 8, he's asleep in the lower part of the boat. Jesus is asleep on a pillow, according to Mark's text as well. So what's Jesus trying to build in Peter through the storm and through saying we're going somewhere you might not feel comfortable, going to the other side, to these places no one else is willing to go? Well, Jesus is building his faith. So how do we grow in faith? We must be willing to go somewhere beyond ourselves, beyond our place of comfort. And so today, hopefully you've been encouraged that to have little faith, join the crowd. And we all have this little faith that God wants to build in us, but be aware that a lot of times the way that faith is built is through going through a storm, and in the middle of the storm you realize he's taken me somewhere greater than where I would have ever gone before. So God bless you today, and I hope your faith starts to grow.